Well, before we get started, I think this might be a good time just to remind ourselves that we are together as a Sangha, supporting each other's practice. So please feel free to unmute and say good evening to each other. And please, if you don't mind, turning on your camera.
Namaste, everybody.
Good evening to
everybody.
each other.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Feel free to say where you're calling in
Hi,
from.
everyone.
Hey, guys.
Love from San Francisco.
Hello.
Northern Saskatchewan.
And the daughter.
Victoria.
Woo woo.
Santa Rosa.
It's great. Okay.
See what you started, Howie.
So here we are. Now we can mute again.
I'll take care of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for co-piloting, Mary.
Here she is.
So as always, we come together having been through a lot. From morning till night, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, lots and lots of sensations, lots of moods, sometimes more internal drama than we may want. But this is an opportunity to stop, if you haven't already, to sync up, to put your mind in the same location as your body, to come to a place of simple immediacy, and to at least touch that place where life is not complicated. Life is simply 6 experiences: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking. And that's all. And anything more complicated than that, we know that we are caught a little bit in our imagination, which is a wonderful thing to be able to imagine. But for this time, we give our nervous system a rest by coming into simplicity and finding the present time experience, hopefully, when we sustain our attention here, becomes compelling enough, interesting enough that we become much less interested in what's next, much less interested in what came before, and discover that really the peace and ease that all of us is searching for in our lives through everything that we do is something that we can recover or recognize as the natural state of our own mind right now when we stop. So the best way to stop and to let that syncing up stick is to find an upright, relaxed posture, one that you can luxuriate in, if there is one that you can take delight in, settle into, one where you can let your body go, let it be just as it is, just kind of melting into the openness of your practice. Supporting the process by letting the eyes close softly, noticing almost instantaneously a stilling of the body, mind, steadying, letting the attention sink so intimately into the experience of body that We cease to feel any kind of dividing line. It's just body awareness, bodyfulness. Enjoying the stillness, as well as enjoying sensing, sinking into the movements that your body makes when it breathes. And enjoying the body's experience of its own breath. Making no effort to alter, manipulate, change the breath, just letting the breath breathe itself. The body breathing according to its needs. Completely impersonal or selfless experience. Breathing happens. Yet connecting our attention to this breathing tends to bring some focus, some calm, kind of harmonizing of mind and body. Sometimes described as a pleasant dwelling. Already we notice just by connecting our attention to the in-breath, our mind empties. The out-breath, our mind empties. It allows us to feel the fullness of our life here, just this moment, just this breath. The past has passed, it's gone. Future is just a dream. It's just this. While we're here, we may also notice sounds, and we receive them graciously. Likely to notice moods that flow through our mind and body like weather. We receive them graciously, know them. We'll experience thoughts and images, and we let them float through our minds like clouds. We don't cling to anything, we just let it all come and go. Let our mind be open, receptive like the sky. Just welcoming all experiences. Kind attention, just this moment. As always, when you realize that you've been lost in thought, fantasizing, drifting without much mindfulness, take delight in the fact that you have awakened, that mindfulness has rearisen. Without any judgment, relax, sense what it's like to be synced up again, to just be here, embodied, outside of time, and in support of remaining anchored to this unfolding experience, we connect again with the support of the body and breath. Again and again, connecting, sustaining, staying here, staying aware as long as it lasts. If your mind is sinking into dullness, or you feel agitated, restless, just notice those states. Make a little space for them. And also feel free to refresh yourself. Begin again. Remembering that every moment is open, is free, a new beginning can always begin again. Past has passed, the future is unborn. There's just this. Just this moment. In a few moments, when you hear the sound of the gong, just be aware of hearing. Let the sound arise and fade. As it fades, notice the impulse to open your eyes. Notice the experience of opening your eyes, the arising of outer sight, seeing. And then notice any other movements that you make so that the practice continues. Everything equal in the light of awareness. So thanks so much, as always, for your practice. Felt really blessed to be able to be sitting with you. Still quite amazed by the feeling of still practicing together, even though I'm sitting in this office, not moving. Really, thanks for showing up. We have a special evening in store tonight, something I'm not used to doing. And I've got to give myself the option of going on gallery view. Mary, am I still on spotlight for other people? Okay. Anyway, I am extremely happy tonight to share with you a friend, a colleague, and someone who I have wanted to come to Mission Dharma, to be with us, to be with me, to be with us, ever since I heard that she was writing a book about integrity, a book about how to create a life of integrity, a book about what are called the 10 perfections or paramis of the Buddha, the qualities of an awakened being. I wanted to invite her here to be with you, and she's here tonight, and her name is Gail Andersen, and there she is. She has been pegged or pinged or whatever you call it, and I am going to interview her, going to ask her some questions, let you get to know her. And part of why I wanted you to meet her is because of this wonderful book that she's written, but partly it's because who she is. And there's three things: her book, who she is. And I think when I think of Gail, and you can see her now, I think of a being of great purity, of the closest, and this is not an idealized version of this, but the closest to a sense of an angel of anybody I know. Sorry, Gail. Now, what you see is what you get. Being around her, she gives that beautiful teaching that the Buddha offered about the gift of fearlessness. That means someone, whoever's around that person, you don't have to be afraid when you're around that person. You can relax, you can be yourself. She embodies that quality. The other reason that I wanted you to have the material from the book, but I also wanted to bring into our field some of the teachings of Joseph Goldstein. And Gail's book, entitled Creating a Life of Integrity, it is a book of conversations with Joseph Goldstein, who I have probably shouted from the hilltops too many times I consider him the preeminent Western Dharma teacher, peerless. And Gail, somehow through her magic over the years, became quite friendly with Joseph, a student of Joseph, but got close enough to hang out for a long time and to converse enough to create this beautiful book that she has created. So you will hear a little bit about that book tonight, and probably a lot about Gail. She uses wonderful storytelling in her book, and hopefully some of that will emerge in our conversation. Just a little background about her. She has been a Dharma student for 30 plus years. Maybe, am I right about that, Gail? 30 plus years. And she's done many, many long practice periods, so she's immersed herself in silence a lot. She's also applied her understanding to the world of real estate, where she founded a big real estate company and has supported, nurtured hundreds of agents, and using many of the principles of integrity, kindness, all the wholesome qualities in action. So her work is very accessible, very practical for our daily life. So I'm hoping that you'll enjoy getting a chance to hear her. One little aside that I hope it's okay that I say this is Gail is more connected to this Sangha than she may even know. She knows it, but she probably hasn't thought about this so much. Gail is married to one of my oldest Dharma friends, Ron Stark, who many of you may have read over the last 35 years, his advertisements in the Inquiring Mind. He advertised himself as the Dharma dentist. And he is famous for humor in the chair and everywhere else for that matter. But Ron, as many people also experienced, had a previous partner before Gail. And his previous partner was Sharda Rogel, who founded this group with me in 1985. So this group, Gail is more connected. The degrees of separation are a lot closer than you might think. So I'm really happy that Gail is here tonight. And I guess maybe you want to say a little hello, Gail, and then I'll ask you a few questions.
I hate to trample on that introduction. That's by far the best things people have said about me all at one time anyway. Thank you very much. I'm really touched by that.
I'm sorry about that. I think that it is really one of the great joys of my life to toot other people's horns. So sorry if I went overboard.
Thank you.
But I want everyone here to hear, one, a lot about your book, but I want them to hear how you came to the Dharma. And then just as part of that, maybe how you decided to write this book and why you decided to write the book about the perfections, about the paramis, about integrity. So please have at it.
Well, the answer to that are two great stories. So since you've already primed them for my loving telling stories, I grew up the oldest of 6 kids. So I was telling stories my whole life to all my younger siblings. So that might have something to do with it. And I love to write. The way that I got, and my mother was a Unity minister. So I was raised in, Unity borrowed very heavily from Buddhism because it was a modern religion. And so there's a lot of Buddhism. We meditate in our services at Unity when I was growing up. And but the way I met this group, Joseph and my husband now, Ron, I had just started dating Ron. You've probably heard this, Howie. And he invited me to go skiing up in the mountains for a while with a friend of his, Joseph Goldstein. And I wasn't into Buddhism or the Dharma at that point. And but I said, sure, that sounds like fun, you know. So and then I looked up Joseph, and of course he's quite a regal individual in the Dharma world. And so I was very excited to meet this man, and especially as his friend of Ron's. And so we got in the car and we're driving up to the mountains, and Ron and Joseph are sitting in the front seat and I'm in the back. And the two of them are matching wits and laughing and, you know, and I'm sitting back there going, wow, this doesn't seem like a famous Dharma teacher, you know, he's like an everyday guy, which if you know Joseph Goldstein, you know that that's true. He's you know, 100% authentic. And so we got up to the mountains, and I'll make this story short because it's in the book, but I was smitten. I thought he was just this wonderfully fun guy to hang around with. The three of us were just having a great time. So, but it started snowing very heavily, and we didn't have chains on the car, and so we weren't certain whether we could keep going. The flashing sign says, you know, chains required. So we pulled into this little side store, and Ron told us to go in and see what we could find out. And he had seen that a trooper had just pulled up behind us, and he was going to go talk to him. So we go into the store, and we hardly step into it, and Joseph goes, coffee? You want some coffee? So I go, sure. So we go over, we make some coffee, and then he's like, cookies. I love cookies. I'm like, you like cookies? Over to the cookie row we go. So then we're picking out cookies. And then he looks over and he goes, oh, what was it? There was something, anyway, a third thing. And about that time, Ron shows up and he goes, oh, I see you're finding out about the, you know, tires, for the special tires. And we were still with our coffee and our cookies. And Joseph stood up. He was looking into the food booth, and he stood up and he starts laughing. And he says, that's wanting mind in action. And I'm like, wanting mind? I'd never heard of mind with a name. And I'm like, wanting mind, wanting. Yeah, my mind was wanting, you know. But the thing about it was, then he starts laughing like, oh, isn't that funny, watching my wanting mind at work, you know? And I just was like, this was revolutionary. I'd never even heard of such a thing. My mind is separate from me. I'm not my mind. That's the first I heard that idea. And it has stuck with me ever since. And I'm following him through the store going, I'm staying with this guy. He knows something that I've never heard before. It just opened up doorways for me. And so by the end of that ski trip, we were, of course, bosom buddies, the three of us, and we've continued to vacation together over many, many years. And I signed up for a 10-day retreat that started, that's why he was here in California, 2 days after we got back from our little ski trip. So I signed up for that, not knowing, what I was doing, and a 10-day silent retreat. And I was launched. And so for many years, I think this year I'm doing my 30th year of Joseph's retreat. Only right now it's still online and 4 days instead of a week and a half. But how could I say this? I continued to do that until I had a really rough time. And many years after we met. And so I called Joseph up and I said, Joseph, could I check in with you once a month? And I'm thinking, I said, you're the only therapist I would trust to talk to, but I'm really depressed and troubled and everything, is out of kilter. And he said, sure. And so he says, we'll work with the paramis, the 10 components of integrity. And I hung up and I'm like, well, I'm happy I'm going to be working with him, but does he think that maybe my integrity is it, weak or lacking, which was, frightening to me. But anyway, so we have our first, he gives me some instructions to take into my daily life, working with the first parami, which is generosity. And so I did that. And then when I reported back, of course, we were across country. So we had our conversation by phone. And I can still remember the two of us were crying. We were laughing so hard, back and forth. And I was telling a story and he was telling me a story about generosity and how, and it was just so juicy for both of us. I think it went like 2 hours. So we were just like, we couldn't stop. And at the end of it, we looked at each other and each of us thinks the other one said this. Now, we each are sure that the other one said it, but we both just thought this should be a book. And he thinks I thought it and I thought he did, but we were right. And so we went from there and we redid that one. And then I taped them every month for the 10 months of the paramis. And same thing, he would share experiences he had, I'd share mine, he'd give me insights. And I was taping it all and that became the book. So the book is 10 chapters, 10 paramis, and Joseph gives instructions at the beginning for us to take it into our daily lives. And we work with it for 30 days is how we did it. And then I would come back and report and he would give me advice and that was taped. And so that's how the book is laid out. And the process of my doing that over the 10 months has totally changed my life. It's taking the Dharma into your daily life every moment. And what Howie had mentioned is that I'm doing a course now that's just close to ending. I'm doing the 10th one in a couple weeks. And to say that we've all gotten close, this is a big group of people sponsored by New York Insight, does not cover it. But the level that people have attained through those teachings and working with them every day in their daily lives for almost a year, it's profound. People are making major life changes and sharing them, and it's so beautiful. I knew it worked. Joseph knew it worked. I knew it worked, and now it's wonderful to be coming to the end of this really first guinea pig group and seeing the results. Did that answer your question?
So you're working with the with the paramis, with the perfections, seemed like excellent medicine for what you described as a depression that you were experiencing. Being
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the whole point of it is moving to the bliss of blamelessness, which is my favorite little thing. And it does. There's incredible joy that comes out of living with integrity.
So if you can, for
Yes.
those who may not be familiar with this list, the Buddha's teaching is filled with lists,
Yeah.
all very important, all essential teachings, but maybe you could just highlight a little bit about the paramis specifically. I mentioned it briefly when we opened, but to really invite people into that world of the paramis, to inspire them to work the steps, so to speak.
I can do that. I think, not quite sure how, it'll come out. The 10 paramis are, I'm going to just say what they are, but before I do that, they're designed as a ladder is the best way to describe it, or stepping stairs, so that each builds on itself. And they're also, so that's a key thing to understand, because in the beginning you're like, you can't remember, you think, you know, some people will come back and go, I forgot for the whole first week, you know, it's like, it's fine, just keep going. And then they're also built on each other from strength. So from what you learn in each one manifests into creating a step up to the next level of being able to see more clearly the next one. And so it starts with some basics, and then they get kind of really meaty and like really energetic. And then now with this group I'm working with now, we're in the heaven realms, as I call them, the last few. So with that understanding, this is the 10 of them, starting from the first one, which is generosity, which is a very easy one for us all to already understand. We know what it feels like when we're generous. We know what it feels like when we're not. So there's some already established desire there, I think, for getting better at our generosity. And then that moves to virtue. Now it expands it into, okay, you can do that with generosity. How about with some other virtuous actions in your life? Can you get a little better in some other places in that regard? And then the next one is renunciation. Perfect, right? So now you've got this desire for these, to get better at these. Now you need a little tougher, bring something tougher in. So renunciation, you're renunciating bad habits, old, you know, you're stuck, all of a sudden you blah, out comes and you're like, oh God, you know. So you need some renunciation to really help, you know, get the energy going. And then the next one is wisdom. Number 4 is wisdom, because now you don't want to get too much of that energy going and going out there. You want to have some wisdom you're going to be using now. So you're looking at, oh, now this worked and this didn't. And why did I think I wanted to do that? And what, all right, why did I say, you know, so you're starting to ask questions and wonder, right? So can you kind of feel like we're moving up in our understanding? Then comes courage. And I always use the word virya, which is its translation, because virya has a lot of energy to it. So courage it really takes courage now. You're seeing so much more, but you've still got all those untidy habits hanging around here and there, and you just, you know, say that or fall into this or do that, and it's like, now you need some courage to really start to take some scary, frightening, big steps, doing things differently. So that's courage. And then number 6, they're also perfect. So then what would number 6 be? Patience. Okay, so now you see it all. Oh my God, look at all this I've got to do and change and think and patience and just, choosing one. Keep trying. Keep just starting over. The main thing is just starting over, right? So patience, we really call on patience at that point. You're right in the middle. Truthfulness is the next one, number 7. So now that's truthfulness is a more subtle, right? My truthfulness might not be Howie's truthfulness, and my truthfulness on my good, clear seeing, being truthful with myself, moments are better than others. So was that truthful? Did I need to say that? Did it, it's getting subtler. Can you feel that? And we can do it now. It's easier. We can see those areas where we slide off and where we slid off and why and from what. Number 8, my other favorite one, resoluteness. Again, lots of energy, resoluteness. It really, that's that, just start again. You just begin again, resoluteness. And you've got that resoluteness. You're working on it. You can feel it. I feel it in my body sometimes. It's just, oh, this is a moment for resoluteness. We need it. And so there's a lot of energy there. You're really, now you've got the truthfulness, but it's like, oh, truthfulness, it can be a little, but resoluteness, like, okay, now we've got a reason to get, our truthfulness in line. And then loving kindness, that's number 9. And now, if you can imagine, we're almost at the top. And when it is the bliss of blamelessness, you're feeling that bliss of blamelessness now more and more. You're seeing it coming up. You're seeing things differently. You're reacting differently. You're feeling much deeper. And that loving kindness is coming out, and it's coming out in ways and places and speech and thoughts about others and yourself. So that loving kindness is just feeling that expanding is such a glorious, moment. And that's what I just had last week with everyone sharing their loving kindness, and it's just everybody's teary-eyed. And then the last one, of course, is equanimity. So now we're taking all of that together and learning how to create a life of integrity for ourselves. And that's with equanimity. So there you go. I've never done that before. I just made that up right now, Howie.
Beautiful stuff.
I'm glad it got taped.
What's that?
Huh?
What did you
I
say?
said I'm glad it got taped. I just made it up just now. And
tell us a little bit more about the bliss of blamelessness, though. Because others may not know what you mean by that.
Well, it's here's a story. And probably a lot of you can relate to this. So we all do this little white lie where someone, calls you and say, oh, Gail, are you free? I would love to have dinner with you Thursday night. And I look at my calendar and I see that Thursday night is my only night that I'm not doing something already, booked. And so I say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy that night. So, how about next week? And I hang up the phone, and she's fine with next week, but I feel lousy. It's not the bliss of blamelessness that I'm feeling. I lied to her, and I'm aware of it, and it doesn't feel good. But it was a habit I hadn't even really thought of. I do it so often. And so the next time, the same kind of thing, you look in the only day that they have available, and I said, oh, you know what? That's my only day free this week. So if it's okay with you, what looks good for you next week? Would that make anybody upset? No, like, she goes, oh, sure, okay, I know what that feels like. And when I hung up the phone, I've never done that again. It's been 4 or 5 years. I just don't, because it's so obvious. I felt so much better the other way. I didn't lie. I didn't have to remember, oh, now what did I tell that person that I was doing that day? You know, all of that stuff that, you know, that's the bliss of blamelessness.
Mm.
I mean, in a nutshell, can you feel that? I can't see too many shaking heads, but hopefully yes, because that was one of my my great ones that was really common.
Mm. Thank you for telling that. You know, it's funny, as you were speaking, I was thinking of this line from, I think it was Wei Wu Wei, where he said, why are you so unhappy? Because 99.9% of everything you do and think is for yourself, and there isn't one. So rather than spend time preoccupied with this internal narrative, developing these paramis, just turn it into wise action, turning it into loving kindness, turning it into happy medicine instead of spinning spinning our wheels. So it just reminds me that that line from the Buddha, whatever you frequently dwell upon becomes the inclination of the mind.
Yes.
We're planting seeds in every moment. So thank you for reminding us of that.
And you know, there's one other thing I think that is really important about this, and I've seen it now in action for some time, is that 30 years of Buddhism now, and I've been to many, many, many retreats, and so many people are all charged their first retreat, and they go, and they just, you can see them sometimes when they're walking, sometimes if they leave early, sometimes, you know, talking with them afterwards, or even much afterwards, after they leave and they don't feel like they did it right after they left, or they're not doing it right, or I can't do it, I can't, you know, all that stuff. And Buddhism doesn't get a second chance in a lot of those situations. And the paramis are designed to be in our daily life. And so, and it's to just pick yourself up and start over. The main thing is just, it's not right or wrong, because it's all a trial. You're learning, you're trying this, oh, that didn't work, you know. But it's in daily life. And so it's moment to moment. And after doing this for a year, moment to moment, and reporting and checking in with yourself and with, you know, support groups that we put together, it works. People are having very deep Buddhist enlightenment, and you can watch it happening, and it's because it's I think in this culture, in this day and age, it's perfect for it's like a year retreat, but you don't know it's really going on, you know, but it's designed to be in your daily life. You don't take it and sit on the cushion and think, now what does virtue mean? Now what, you know, it's actually out on the front lines with virtue. I was virtuous there. Oops, not there. Why didn't I there? You know. Beautiful. So I think that's I'm very excited about taking it into the tech companies and some of the places, people that I know in the world of business who all got excited from things I would say and went to a retreat and never went back. And I would love to see people working with this in their daily lives. It's so rewarding and uplifting. It's huge.
Yes, you keep saying daily lives, and I think it's right now, in a sense, we're all coming out of our bomb shelters and engaging much more in life, and all the more reason right now to really fire up the light of attention in our relationships, you know, in our actions, in our speech, you know, all those things. So just,
yeah,
your message is really essential right now.
And I think and what you just said really, I think also it's integrity isn't normally combined with the bliss of blamelessness, right? It's right or wrong. Oh, you did wrong. Instead of, oh, you're sad, you feel bad. You know, you can change that. I think that's quite remarkable. A remarkable way to teach something so important.
Say more about that. You're sad. I'm not sure I quite understood that last point about being sad.
That the qualities of the joy, of the bliss, it's the bliss of blamelessness. You're blameless. And it really is a bliss. I can see it on my students' faces now. And it's that, but when someone just tells you you did it wrong, or you could do better, or why don't you do, you know, it's different than figuring it out for yourself and doing it and trying and failing and watching with it, just your own. You don't have to share it with anybody, right? But it is, blamelessness is bliss. You know, I can walk down the street and I know that I'm going to act with loving kindness. I really feel that. Sometimes I don't, but I trust that I will. And I know I can.
And you see that capacity as just the fruit of having planted all those seeds and inclined your heart toward purity of action.
Yes, yes. And there's great information, the instructions that Joseph came up with for each one of them that I took into my life. I would have a little sheet of paper like this size in my car, in my purse, on my desk at work, with whatever the instructions were for that month, integrity. And you just keep doing it over and over and starting over.
So for the few people, very few people who won't end up reading this book and won't complete the reading of the book, what are 3 instructions that you would offer to people here tonight? 3 places to focus, 3 instructions that you think are really differences that make a difference in people's lives.
Well, it would have nice to have known that question ahead of time, because it's hard for me to think of the 3. So what would I say? I would say forgive yourself and then just begin again. That would be 2. But because that is really 2 major places where we get stuck. We don't forgive ourselves. We just keep thinking about how I blew it, right? And so that beginning again, I say just begin again. It's like, oh yeah, just begin again. And to have it lighthearted like that, it's like, gosh darn it, Gail, why can't you, you know? But no, all of that, and each one of these we do for ourselves also, you know, loving kindness on ourselves. So, you know. So, and then I think the other instruction is not on the cushion, in your daily life, moment to moment. If you're really taking it into your daily life, moment to moment, it works itself. It just happens. If you're doing it daily, in your daily life, that's the best instruction. So,
daily life, where the rubber meets the road.
yeah.
Gail, I think we have to shift gears, but before we do, I want to just put the cover of your book so people can see it.
And I could make a little announcement. There I am. And that announcement is that, as I mentioned, this course I'm doing now with NYI is coming to a close. And they are so happy with it that they want me to do it again. And I was so happy with my group and what they had done that I reached out to Joseph and asked him if he would come and do the Q&A instead of me on the last course. And he said, sure. So everybody's all excited, including NYI, who now wants to use that last course and open it to anybody to see Joseph in action and sign up for the next course. So we just kind of all came up with the idea. We're still tweaking it, but it's, it'll be almost 2 months from now. So you have plenty of time, and just watch NYI. I'm sure they're going to put it up and you'll see Joseph on it and you'll know, and you can attend that event for free, and then see if you're interested in taking the next course.
So New York Insight.
Yes, and in the meantime, as Howie said, the book is, I have a website, just creating a life of integrity, and there's many places you can buy it directly from Wisdom Publications, or on, what is it? I blanked it out. The main place everyone buys books now.
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon.
Or others.
Funny, I blanked that out. But anyway, so that's kind of fun news. It's just a few days old, so it's not been manifested yet, but everybody's excited about it, and it will be happening. So, but I've also, I'll say one quick thing. The book, for the first 6 months before all this happened, of course, all my friends and in the business world were buying the book and reading it. And what would happen, they'd start reading it, they'd start talking about it. A friend would say, oh, I'll get the book and we'll do it together. And so it's like a natural thing that happens, that small groups have happen. So you can easily get 2 other friends and read it and go ahead and just read 1 chapter a month and work with it and then get together, and magic. So don't wait till new course.
Beautiful. Gail, thank you so much for being with us. We do have to shift gears. And
Okay.
I think for a moment, maybe we should unmute and give a little hand. I saw somebody that gave me the idea. Just clap. The Zoom clap doesn't quite do it, but
Yeah.
not a sign of the way we thought about you. Anyway, I'm so happy you were all here. And a reminder that we're here just in the spirit of that first parami of generosity. Everything's offered freely. The invitation is for you to experience the joy of giving. So thanks in advance for any generosity. And I think most of you know how to offer dana if you are so inclined. Thank you in advance. And I don't think I need to make any other retreat announcements right now. That will keep being offered. But I would like us all to 2 things. First, to consider, as we do each week, to remember that the good fortune that we have to be together, to hear teachings on the possibility of a happy life that depends on our actions of body, speech, and mind. Just what a great privilege to even be able to think about that, and to be together and have the technological conditions here where many people don't. And then just the goodness that comes from being together, the blessings, the merit, all the blessings of being together. What we do each week is we gather all that together. We remember that we are part of a larger network of humanity, of other beings, and we just offer freely. We give away the blessings of our practice with a wish for everybody that they have integrity, that they have the causes of happiness growing in their lives, that they have peace, that they have ease, that they have happiness, that sacred happiness that's beyond sorrow, here and now, and that all beings everywhere never stray away from this immediacy, this place of being in sync. And a deep wish that our practice tonight and every night is be dedicated to the welfare and benefit of all. It's not just for ourselves. The fragrance of that bliss of blamelessness, everybody benefits by. So thanks for your practice. Please feel free to unmute everyone, say good night to each other, thank each other for your presence, and see you the next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
Thanks, Gail.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Howie.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Howie, also.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Gail.
Howie.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Howie.
Night, everyone. Thank you.
Gail, good night.